Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hi everyone, this is Ben coming to you live here at the Harvest Moon. As you can see, our weather right now is actually pretty fantastic, and should be a really nice night for driving movies.
We're very fortunate in this COVID-19 issue to have been, for the most part, permitted to continue to operate.
March of 2020, all of a sudden we were geniuses because everything had turned into drive-in.
Now that everything's back open again, they're not here.
Driving isn't the top of the choice anymore.
We're just trying to keep heads above water and keep rolling right now.
We don't have to wear face masks, we don't have to have 50% capacity, but then there's other problems.
Usually we'd show double features. We're understaffed, so we can't do double features right now.
And the supply chain challenges have been real. I've never seen anything like this.
It could be the worst July attendance-wise on record.
I thought it would really be fun to spend our retirement at a drive-in. I didn't realize that we would spend our retirements on a drive-in as well, but here we are. So.
There's a train that goes by at 9:45 directly behind the screen too. I would suggest the management coordinate intermission with the trains.
Drive-ins have had to completely reinvent themselves time after time, and I think we're going through a reinvention process now.
My goal was to show my boys that if you have a dream, you can build it.
This is the first busy weekend we've had since COVID started.
Normal for a Sunday to be even a little bit busier yet, but I'm thankful for what we have here.
Bowling balls, bowling pins, dude cookies. Beer garden is open, he's making white Russians.
Awesome. It's just one of those things that makes you feel like you are actually doing something good in the community.
It's 891 on the radio. We've had proposals out here, and it's really a lovely place.
I'm at the love of my life here working at the drive-in. The money's not the best, but my job is the best.
And once you're in here, a lot of the different things that are going on now, especially the negative or stressful things, don't exist once you're in here.
We have no intention of going anywhere. We're going to stay right where we are. This is not the first tragedy that's ever happened, and it won't be the last.
We've survived so many years where we shouldn't have continued on that we're pretty confident we'll see the sun rise again and they'll be back to where we were.
Nora, it's intermission. It's 9:24. You just gotta base it on the train now, I guess.
Hey. Oh, yeah. I had to get the intro in there. You know, we got to go back. Today's topic, we're going back in time, back to the drive-in. Had to play some old retro intros there just for fun, just to get us all in the mood. But speaking of back, April Wright, filmmaker and director, how are you? Welcome back to the channel.
Yes, going back on your show. I'm so happy to be here talking with you.
I know, because there's so many movies. I know me and you discussed them. We were going to do a review and do but life happens, and you get extremely busy, and I get extremely busy, so it's hard to us to get together. But I know we had a lot of fun talking about Halloween H2O and Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street because she's a badass like that, guys. That's right. Everybody watching. She likes the horror genre, baby.
I do.
Represent.
I do. Horror and thriller is my favorite genre.
Love it. That's right. That's why you're family here. That's right. But today we are going to go back in time, back to the drive-in, and back to the documentary genre here. And the last time we had you here, speaking of documentaries, we discussed the awesome Stunt Women. That's right, the untold Hollywood story, and now it's playing on it's playing everywhere, even on American Airlines. It looks like. Look at that.
Yeah. It is. So many people have told me they've seen it on American Airlines, and I flew that a couple months ago, and it's on their lineup, and it's on other airlines too. It's hard to keep track, but yeah, it's out there. You can find it.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And that you guys, if you haven't seen it, it's an awesome documentary. Make sure you guys check that out. But first of all, we got some peeps here. Jake Hall saying hello, April. That's right. Got some people here
Hello.
saying hello. And Kevin also saying hello to April, Miss Wright here. That's right. That's right.
Nice.
Representing. But yeah, let's go back. Let's set the scene here. Look at that. Woo, we going back retro. Look at that. The drive-in, man. And everybody watching right now, if you have any drive-in memories, feel free to let me know. Let me know in chat, and I'll click on it and stuff like that. Some good memories. Don't talk about any bad memories. Good memories.
Or I just gonna say, do we want people talking about the movies they don't remember because they were in the back seat making out or something like that? Do we want those stories, or do we just want the movies they remember?
We'll see. I'll take a look at what they post there, if they post anything.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to people about just movies they remember, because you know, I always say when you go to the drive-in, you're not just seeing a movie. It's the whole atmosphere, it's the whole experience. You can talk in your car to people. A lot of drive-ins now, people put it in the back of the pickup truck, or they bring chairs and sit outside, and so it is a little more social experience, and it really creates a memory. When you go to the drive-in, it's beyond just the movie. It's not something you stream at home that you forget about as soon as you finish watching it. It really creates a memory that people take with them. So a lot of people, when I talk to them about drive-ins, they can tell me, oh, I remember seeing this movie at the drive-in, or, you know, they really remember those things. So if people do remember things, I love to hear those stories.
Yes, and you're correct. It's a totally different type of atmosphere and experience than the regular movie theaters. And we love the movie theaters. We love going to the movie theater with sound and all that cool stuff.
Yeah.
But there was something special about the drive-ins. You know, I mean, the last time, it's been a while, Samurai Guy's been to a drive-in, but last time I was at one, we went to go see, it was a double feature. We went to go see. It was a good and bad experience at the same time. We went to go see. It was Halloween 2. Yes, the recent one, which was really bad. I know it has its fans. That's fine. But then after that, District 9 was the one afterwards, and we had extremely low expectations for District 9. We didn't even know what we were watching with the teaser trailer for District 9. So when we saw it in the theater, the drive-in, we were like, this is fucking amazing, you know. We were like, oh my god.
And that's the one where they're cleaning up a former asylum or something like that. Is that the movie I'm thinking of? Oh, that's Session 9.
You're thinking of Session 9.
9 is the alien one, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
So yes, that's
Neil
a perfect
Blomkamp directed.
Exactly. That's a perfect one for a drive-in, because if you're seeing an alien movie, if you're seeing Jaws, if you're seeing, you know, anything where the outside atmosphere, the sky above you, or, you know, just the trees, or just even the people next to you in their car, that can add like an extra layer to any sort of scary movie. So, yeah.
Do you have any drive-in memories from back in the day to share?
Well, I went to the drive-in all the time with my family. It was a regular thing that my mom did with us growing up. And so people always ask me if I remember, you know, the first time I went to the drive-in or any of that, but it just was a common thing that we did all the time. We were lucky when I was a kid to have 3 drive-ins near us. By the time I got older, we only had one, and it was called the Keno in Kenosha, Wisconsin, across the border from where I lived on the Illinois side. And that one lasted until about 5 years ago. It just got torn down for no reason. It's now an empty lot. But I did go to the drive-ins a lot. And then when I moved out here to LA, the Van Nuys drive-in was still open. So I used to go to there quite a bit before that got torn down. So yeah, I've been to, before making this new film, before making Back to the Drive-In, my very first documentary was about drive-ins. it was a documentary called Going Attractions, the definitive story of the American drive-in movie. And I covered the whole history of the drive-in, the invention, all the different ups and downs they went through. And to make that movie, I drove the country twice, 2 summers in a row. I took a whole month each summer and drove, not the airport cities, every little town to little town to little town. And I visited over 500 drive-in locations. So I really have been to more drive-ins than anybody. It's kind of a weird side effect that happened from making that movie. So yeah,
you got drive-in street cred.
I've been to a lot of drive-ins.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
I know. It's just weird, right?
Yeah. Well, you're very thorough and very good at what you do and doing your research and all that. So, it shows here in the documentary, which we'll get into a little bit. I won't do any major spoilers because I want people that are watching right now to go out and watch the film, of course. But we could talk about a few things. But yeah, Samurai Guy, when I was young, I have more memories of the experience of being at the drive-in, believe it or not. Not necessarily the films, because there was a lot of like my dad just piled up in the back. Me and my sisters just pile up in the back seat, grabbing our treats from the Goodwill. That's right, Samurai Guy's that old. Woolsworth. Yeah, I'm that old.
Yeah.
I'm mentioning no one knows what Woolsworth is.
Woolworths, yeah.
Woolworth.
Yeah.
Like I was saying it wrong.
Yeah, Woolworths. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
There you go.
We had in Chicago, it was called White Hen Pantry. It was kind of like a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And they used to have penny candy. It wasn't actually a penny. I think it was like 10 cents each. But it was just all these little things like Zots and other little candies. And my mom would let us she'd be like, you can get like 10 things. It would be $1 or whatever. We were so excited, and sometimes we would take those to the movies.
Yeah, I mean, back then, things were cheap. You can stock up, man, and sneak food in and stuff. But sometimes it's
although you're not supposed to sneak food in, you need to support the snack bar. We didn't say that. Don't listen to us.
We did get stuff from the snack bar though, because we gotta get them nachos now
and the ice cream. You can't carry the ice cream. You gotta get your ice cream in the snack bar.
But yeah, let's jump into this. I mean, again, congratulations on just the positive feedback from your documentary here. I mean, you have magazine articles, newspaper articles, letterbox reviews, showing at festivals. I mean, and this one right here, this one's huge. You got mentioned, and this is around Comic-Con. You got a shout out here from Chris Gore from Film Thread. That's huge. I like that guy, man.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, they did a review of the film. They gave it 7 out of 10. So
all right,
good review. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have some. We have some younglings in the audience here. They've never been to a drive-in.
You're missing out.
Kevin feels like he's missing out.
You have to go try it.
Yeah, at least once. Take your buds or your best gal. And go check it out.
Yeah, it's just a whole different way to see a movie. It's a whole different experience. There were a couple of the drive-in fans that are in my movie. One of them was like, I already saw Top Gun IMAX. Now I'm going to go see Top Gun at the drive-in because that's going to be a different experience. It's just a different way to see a movie, to experience it. So yeah, I mean, if you have one near you, you owe it to yourself to go check it out because it's definitely a cool experience.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I extremely enjoyed your documentary.
Well, and just people who own drive-ins they're characters. They really are. They're family businesses, and they're just and people that really put their heart and their soul into what they do. And so it's just really interesting to see behind the curtain a little bit what they do to keep these places going.
Yes, and you had a lot of interviews with all of them in your documentary, which was really entertaining and sometimes a little sad because like the trailer showed us, after the pandemic, everybody went back to doing their own thing and they didn't get that much business, but it was also encouraging as well watching them because they still were living their dream, working hard, no matter what, and we could admire that. You know what I mean? They're living their dream.
Yeah, I think
go ahead.
you totally got the film right there. You just said in a nutshell how it feels. Because yeah, a lot of people were telling me after they watched it that they're like, it's about drive-ins, it's fun. I didn't expect it to be so emotional,
Yeah.
but you really connect to the people, and it is emotional. And I was asking this girl who interviewed me the other day, I'm like, what was so emotional for you? And she said, well, you just see these people working so hard and putting their heart and soul into it. So you want them to be successful. And when things aren't going well, you just feel bad for them. And I'm like, yeah, that is how you feel for sure. Like they're doing it all right. You want them to be successful. And like you said, they're so resilient and inspiring. You know, it's a good story for all of us. It's very heartfelt because you're right. They're doing their dream. They're working hard and they're so passionate about it. And even when the odds are against them, they're so determined to make it work. Know, that you are rooting for them and you do care about that. So yeah, thank you.
And they just like the parents were saying about talking about their kids, they want to be examples for their children, and they were like, hey, we can show them that, if we build it, they will come, which was also cool. We got Kevin here saying, congratulations, April, on the success there. People in chat say congrats.
Thank you.
Sexy Sumo, here you go right here. Drive-ins are great fun. Lawn chairs, portable speakers, and fresh air, and a cooler with the cold drinks and snacks. That's right. Oh yeah, he knows what's up. He knows what's up. Oh, here we go. Can't forget weekend swap meets at the drive-ins too. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of them have swap meets because they need something to do during the day to still generate money. So yeah, there's a lot of them, especially in California. A lot of them have swap meets.
Definitely. But yeah, back to Chris Gore. I love his takes. Oh, wrong. I'll get to that post later.
That's my screening I'm having on Wednesday in LA. But yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, let me get to that. Back to Chris here.
Yeah.
I really enjoy his takes on movies. He's very knowledgeable. I was thinking about reaching out to him one day in the future, see if he'd like to be a guest here on the channel. But that is really cool that he gave you that shout out for sure. But yeah, let's talk about this one. So what happened here? What's going on here?
Well, the movie's only available in theaters, and I did that because it's about going to theaters, going to drive-ins, and I want people to go to theaters. So it will be available streaming, but not for another, few months. I don't even have the date yet. So sometime in the fall it will be streaming, but right now it's only in theaters. So I'm at theaters across the country, and I'm doing 2 screenings in the Los Angeles area. On Tuesday, tomorrow, I'm at the Laemmle Monica Film Center in Santa Monica at 7:30. And then on Wednesday, I'm at the Laemmle North Hollywood. And Charles Phoenix, some people know him. He loves retro stuff and Americana. And he knows a lot about Southern California area drive-ins, the ones that used to be here. So he's going to do the Q&A with me on Wednesday. But yeah, if you want to put up that other card, it's at all these other places. Yeah. So this is where it's playing right now. It was at the Music Box in Chicago, but they had their last screening yesterday. It was in Buffalo at the North Park. They had their last screening yesterday. So a couple just played it over the weekend. And then all of these are playing it this week. At the Silver Moon in Florida, it's a double feature with Bullet Train. So that's super fun.
Awesome.
I get to be a double feature with that. Couple drive-ins next weekend. I'm a double feature with Elvis, so that's awesome.
Right.
That's one benefit when you play at drive-ins, because they have double features that you get to play with cool films. Like my last drive-in documentary I was telling you about, I got to be a double feature with Smokey and the Bandit. That was awesome. I got to be a double feature with Jaws one time.
Yeah.
It's just like just seeing what they pair you with. They pair me with Grease a lot because Grease is kind of a drive-in movie.
Yeah.
But
that's
but
perfect,
it is.
though.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like that's another fun little side effect, is that sometimes I get to be a double feature with a really cool film. And
yeah. Well, speaking of extremely cool double feature, check this out, guys. Your documentary was with Top Gun. What? Top Gun Maverick. That is awesome, son. One of the best films of the year. And your film was a double
Yep.
feature with this. That
I
is
know,
like
isn't that crazy?
it doesn't get any cooler than that, man.
Yeah, me and Tom, we have a lot. Me and Tom have a lot in common.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did to kick the film off. National Drive-In Day is on June 6th, which is the day the very first drive-in ever opened on June 6th, 1933. In Camden, New Jersey, the very first drive-in opened. And so a lot of people call that Drive-In Day, National Drive-In Day. And so to kick off the film, I played it at 20 different drive-ins in like 17 states, something like that, for Drive-In Day. And at a lot of them, I was a double feature with Top Gun because that was the movie that had just come out the week before. There I am again on the marquee with Top Gun.
Look at that.
So yeah, it was really awesome that I got to be double feature with Top Gun at a whole bunch of these theaters. There I am again. Yeah. So that one's in Ohio right there, the Vandal. And Vandal is actually one of them that's playing it with Elvis this weekend.
Oh, nice.
So they're playing it again. Yep.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's fun, and it's weird because it's unusual for a documentary to go into theaters, and especially an indie documentary. This doesn't have a studio behind it. This is, I made it, I produced it, I flew the drone, and so
really,
it is
impressive.
Yeah, it is a small indie movie, but because of the subject matter, it's about the theatrical experience. So for people who are film lovers and people who, want to preserve that experience of being able to go see a movie on a big screen in a theater, and during the pandemic, that became a question. Is that experience still valuable? And I think now they're deciding it definitely is. But during the pandemic, that was definitely questioned. Are all these theaters going to close? Are they going to stay closed? Is everything just going to go straight to streamers?
That's right.
So for me, I grew up on that experience. I love going to see movies in theaters. I will seek out cool theaters to go see films at them if I can. And so, yeah, I wanted this just to be in theaters for a little while to support and to try to bring attention back on the drive-ins. And that's from this past weekend. That's the North Park in Buffalo, New York. So there I am on the marquee there. And look at that cool marquee.
That is amazing.
That poor neon is expensive to keep up. You can see it out on the ORT.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that movie palaces like that one, I did visit that one. I made a documentary about movie palaces, and it played in that theater, and I got to see it in that theater, and they gave me a tour of the ticket booth and of the projection room, like everything in that theater. I got to really see all the behind the scenes, and that one's 100 years old, in Buffalo, New York. And one of the drive-ins featured in the film, the Transit Drive-In, is also outside of Buffalo. So we did the screening up there last weekend.
Yeah, but that's really cool. And
yeah, I know, right?
Hopefully it keeps getting shown everywhere because it's such a delight, and just a wonderful trip down memory lane.
Totally. Yeah, we're showing it a bunch of places all the way. I have it booked in different places through September, and we'll probably a few more drive-ins, I suspect, will start playing it before they close for the year, because a lot of them in colder weather. They close up by October or so, but I think a few more will be playing it. But a lot of times, especially at the drive-ins with the double features, they don't lock in their schedule until, the week of or the week before. So I think it's going to end up going a few more places for people to see it on the big screen. And then eventually it'll be streaming for everybody. But yeah, if you're in any of those places, on that list that you showed, and I'll be adding more places soon.
Okay, cool.
Cool. That's how people can catch it.
Yeah, that's awesome. When again is it going to go to streaming?
I don't have the exact date.
Okay. This year, though? Sometime this year?
Yeah. I think it'll likely be October or November, but we don't have an exact date locked in yet. So.
Oh, here we go. Well, that's awesome. Here we go. Sexy Sumo says the Grindhouse Releasing has events out here in California and other states that shows classic horror flicks at select drive-ins. They did one for Evil Dead in 2020. Look at that.
That's awesome. Did you go see it? How was it? Which drive-in was that at?
Yeah, let me know, Sumo, which one if you had a chance to go to that. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, man. Oh yeah. Well, since we're talking theaters and how you love to support not just the drive-ins, but yet you love to support physically going to the movie theater, I have a quick question for you. What do you think about the kind of the gimmick theaters that are out there? You have the 4DX where the seats move. Are you all for that, or you're like, no, I just want to sit down and
That is such an interesting question. I actually did some work for a little while at Real D that did all the 3D for movies over the last 5 years or so. And so I definitely was exposed to that whole side of the business. I kind of look at it. I mean, I do like to try that stuff, and it depends on the film for me. But but it's kind of interesting when you look at the history of cinema, which I've studied a lot. Okay. So you figure when movies first came out, they were silent, they were black and white, and they were short. So at first, all the movies were, 15 minutes, and then they finally strung them together. They came up with feature length movies, but they were still silent, and they had the piano player or the organist at the theater. And then eventually, this thing sound came along, and that was like the biggest novelty.
Talkies.
And the talkies, exactly. And that's when people started going, and what did they have to compete with it? They had radio at home, but if they went to the theater, they could see the picture too. And that was crazy because television didn't exist yet, right? So finally, television shows up kind of in the late 40s, early 50s. And early televisions were like, the size of your laptop screen. They were small, they were not big and they were black and white and the image wasn't good, but people could see something at home. And as that got better, and all TVs were black and white too. People don't realize we didn't start getting color TVs at home until like the 70s. Then you start getting color TVs. Crazy, right? And so if those things didn't happen, maybe the movies would or wouldn't have evolved, because you start to have things like widescreen movie formats.
Right.
Like, Cinerama was the thing that really broke that. And then that turned into the standard format for theaters, widescreen. Okay, now we got widescreen on our TVs at home. We didn't used to have that.
Right.
And then they start having Technicolor and surround sound. So each time there's sort of like something more you have at home, then they try to come up with something more you don't have at home.
There you
and
go.
so when you're looking at the whole history of cinema, like, they tried making 3D TVs for us at home. There were a few of them for sale a few years ago, but 3D is something that is better in the theater. The IMAX screens are a novelty, but now almost every multiplex has IMAX screens. And, so it's like they're going to keep trying to get us out of our houses and give different things that might be novelties. The first 3D was in the 50s. That was also, trying to get the kids home while their parents were watching, out of the house while the parents were watching TV or whatever. So there's a history and a cycle to this. I don't know what they're going to come up with next to keep getting us. I mean, fancy seats are one of the things now that they try to get us, to go to the theater. Having, food brought to you in your seats, or having beer available. All these things are trying to create a different experience. Now, drive-ins, and I think one of the people in my film says that the drive-in inherently has a draw in addition to the movie. Just the world, the environment of it is something you can't really create at home. And so drive-ins have that built in. The indoor theaters, when you get a movie like Top Gun that comes out, everybody wants to see that on the biggest format possible.
I wanted to see it in IMAX, but by the time I got around to seeing the movie, it was out of IMAX theaters. I was like, no.
Yeah.
But
well,
it's
they
all
might
good.
even be bringing it back too.
I think it's still in theaters right now.
Yeah,
which is insane.
It's a big hit. Yeah, obviously.
It's insane.
So anyway, yeah. So I'm down with that stuff from the perspective that I really want the theatrical experience to continue. So, anything that keeps drawing people to theaters. But I think a lot of times it's the movies that really draw people to theaters. So, certain movies you want to see certain formats, or you want to experience both ways. Sometimes you might be like, okay, I'm going to see it in 3D. I'm going to see it in standard def this time, see what's different about it.
Right.
So yeah. I'm down with all that stuff, but I'm really down with a cool theater or a cool drive-in.
There you go. But you're cool with variety, right? Why not? Yeah, why not? We have Chris Beal here. He says he loves his reclining chairs at his local theater. You
Yep.
know, yeah, they had to upgrade it, man, to make it feel like a home at the theater. You
Yep.
know, there's a theater out here, Galaxy Theaters, where you can get a beer, and sit down and drink it. So
Yeah.
it's
And
interesting.
some people were surprised in my movie that you could get beers at some drive-ins, which you can now.
Oh,
So
oh, the White Russians, baby. Yo, yo. I want to go. I want to go to that drive-in. Serve some
I
White Russians. I was like, what?
So this drive-in he's talking about, the Greenville Drive-In, it's in upstate New York in the Catskills in New York. And this couple bought it about 7 years ago to bring it back to life. But they did some non-traditional things. They play a lot of retro movies, and then they do there it is. They do a theme around it. And when I went to shoot, I was there when they were playing The Big Lebowski. And so that you saw in the trailer, that's why they had the dude cookies. They had White Russians. They had, people in there with their bathrobes like the dude. So they really make each movie into an event.
See,
So
that's what I miss about the drive-in, because they go all out.
yes, yeah,
It's
you
like it's
create a
cool.
very special experience.
It's
Yeah.
cool that theaters out here next to me. It's very awesome. It's cool. They represent the old school when they have like retro night. They'll play an older film like Predator or Batman or something like that. I think that's awesome. On the cheap, right? Like $5 a ticket. But it's cool. It's even better when they get into it.
Yeah.
The movie theaters, they just show it. They don't like have themes or anything like that.
Right.
But that's what's
And some
special about the
drive-ins,
drive-in.
like if they'll show Ghostbusters, somebody will show up with the Ectomobile or whatever it's called.
Right.
Like if they show Back to the Future, maybe somebody in the area
They
has
might,
a
yeah.
DeLorean that they'll bring.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do they have the space to do some of these other things. And as you also saw in the movie, some of them have bands sometimes. So it's really this whole entertainment experience that they're creating that can make it a really cool, fun night out.
Yes, for sure. We had one question here for you, April, from Chris. He says, ask April if she thinks VR is the future for movie theaters. What do you think of that?
Boy, that's such an interesting question. Yeah, when I was doing some work at Real D, of course, that was one of the things that we were talking about is what type of immersive interaction. And you're getting some of that in video games. And a lot of people have also said that there has been a convergence of video games and movies to some degree, to different levels of success. Some movies that kind of feel like video games are great, and sometimes they're less good because you're strangely, even though you're more immersed, you're less detached to the characters in the world.
Well said.
So yeah, I think it just, again, it kind of just depends. It depends on the filmmakers and the movie. But yeah, if you because we have immersive like VR headsets and things that people can get now, and people thought that content was going to come really quick. And especially for narrative content, it has been slow. Like people kind of like it for sports, maybe for concerts, for shopping, like all these sort of interesting applications where people feel like they could make money. But like storytelling has been a harder thing for people to crack. So I don't know where that's going to go, but yeah, if you could, like for a while there was it IMAX had like a VR theater across the street from the Grove in LA. So it was like, okay, they're investing in this VR theatrical, type experience, or I think they had different types of things in there, but it's gone. It didn't, I think it shut down even before the pandemic. So there was a bunch of VR talk, and now I haven't heard much people talking about it lately. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to go away, but
yeah, I wouldn't rule it out.
No, I wouldn't rule it out either. Because think about that. If you could go to a theater and have, an immersive, it's in a weird way. Like, have you heard of the silent discos where everybody's in the headset listening to the same thing, like from the outside? There's no music, but everybody's like they have them sometimes on the beach.
Yeah.
or wherever. So they have sort of these silent discos where you're all listening to the same thing in the headset. So a theatrical kind of VR experience would be kind of the same thing where people would be connected but not. I don't know. I mean, I could see that happening actually. Yeah. Who knows? We're in the future.
Who knows? We're in the future. Well, as long as they clean the headsets before the next, showing.
Right. Yeah.
Don't give me no sweaty ass.
Well, we'd have to be carrying our own around, wouldn't we? I don't know. Somehow, who knows what the future?
It'll be crazy, man. Who knows in the future? It'll be like this. It'll look like VR will look like this.
Right.
It'll
be right here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I usually look at the movie Demolition Man if I want to see the future. I think a lot of Demolition Man has come true. So that's a good one to watch.
I love that movie.
I do too.
It's extremely underrated. I'll have to talk about it on the channel here in the future one day. But speaking of gimmick theaters, have you ever seen the film called Matinee with John Goodman?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
Yeah,
that's another really underrated movie.
Well, when you talk about the history, so that was trying to recreate sort of that movie palace experience. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, thanks for the super chat, and he says thank you, April.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
That's a good question, actually.
I mean, if people want to put on there what your drive-in is that you go to, or what your theater is that you go to, because I've been to so many. If you've been to a drive-in, maybe I've been to yours. Or if you've been to a cool indoor theater or movie palace, maybe I've been to that too, because I have been all over.
Yes, she's been there and done that. That's right. Sumo, going back to what Sumo said earlier, he didn't get a chance to go to see
okay.
Dad, but he did. But he got a T-shirt.
Nice. So the Mission Tiki Drive-In is one of the ones that is featured in my documentary. So I went across the country last summer when I shot this film. I drove from LA out to Texas, up to Nebraska, and then through Ohio, Illinois, upstate New York, Cape Cod, Baltimore, and then I came back. And so I went to 11 different drive-ins for this documentary in 8 different states, because I wanted to show just a whole different cross section. I wanted to show drive-ins that had 6 or 7 screens, and ones that had 1 screen, and ones that had been around for, since the 40s or the 50s. And I went to one that had just been built just opened 3 weeks before I got there. And, I just tried to show just different types of owners and different parts of the country, and, different, been around short time, long time, all the different types of drive-ins. And the interesting thing was the stories were all quite similar. I thought they would be different, depending on the size or where they're located or whatever. But as soon as I went to 3 or 4 of them, I was just like, wow, you guys are all experiencing the same troubles, the same stuff. It doesn't matter where you are. Yeah. And that was interesting. Yeah. So everybody's in it together.
Yeah. And I'm happy they're out there fighting a good fight, because it is an experience for sure. But yeah, speaking of fighting a good fight, I enjoyed there's one couple. There's a gentleman who basically is like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna just do it in my backyard.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, that's dedication, man. I love that. He's like, no, we're gonna do it in the backyard and make it happen.
Yeah. So that couple, they both went to the drive-in, like when they were growing up in that area. They're in Ohio, and all their drive-ins got torn down around the area, and they had a cornfield. They live very rural. and they literally built a drive-in in their backyard. And they call it the Field of Dreams Drive-In because they love that movie. And it is what you said. If you build it, they will come, and that's what they did. And it was so popular that they added a second screen.
Yeah. And just people forget how huge some of these drive-ins are. I mean, this is nothing. I'm gonna have another photo I'm gonna show.
Yeah.
But this is like huge. Like, they even have a walkway in the middle for people to go, patrons can go get some snacks.
Yep.
But people forget how huge drive-ins are.
They are, yeah. And that's one thing I like. Like, I was telling somebody on another interview recently that when you go to a drive-in, there, especially, go back a step. Like during the pandemic, there were a lot of pop-up drive-ins, and if all your drive-ins are gone and that's what you have, then that's great. But that's sort of like a light version of a drive-in because you're still in a parking lot, blah, blah. When you go to an actual drive-in like you just saw there, and especially with the aerial and the drone shots, I could see the point of view to really see all the design that goes into it, that there's these ramps and these rows, and it really is designed as a theater. And there's a long entryway road to get in because everybody's trying to get into the show at the same time. So you can't back up the freeway out there. You got to have like a side entry road. And so there's a lot of care into the design and into the snack bars too, because the same thing, they got to run a bunch of people through at the same time before the show and during the intermission. It's a rush. And so everything's really designed to be this experience where every car can see over all the other cars and everything's great. And, so there's a lot of design that goes into it that people don't really understand. And that's one thing that I wanted to show with some of the drone shots is just to see the layouts of these places. And when you go to one, especially when you go to it empty, but when you go to it for the night to see a show and you see how huge those marquees are, the ones that have marquees, when you stand next to them, they're gigantic. They're amazing. They have neon. They're really cool looking. And you're just like, wow, they built something like this. And then the screen, same thing. It's just huge. They're bigger than any IMAX screen. And so, yeah, there's something about just getting inside that little world of the drive-in that you're like, something fun's going to happen in here. I'm going to have a good time in here. And you just get kind of excited. Every time I go to a drive-in, when I see one, when I go on the land, to visit one or to go see a show, I get a little excited because it's the environment of it, and the way it's all, it's all built. So
yes. And they play old school and new school still, which is pretty cool. There's not like they're up to date. They're playing the newest hottest thing that's out there. Not just the retro stuff, which is still fun.
And
like Evil Dead
a lot of them had laser projectors. A lot of people, somebody actually wrote an article saying, that drive-ins use antique equipment or play old stuff. And I was just like, actually, that's not correct. They all have digital projectors. And when I was on the road last summer, a lot of the indoor chains are now announcing like, oh, we're going to switch to laser projectors. Like 4 or 5 of the drive-ins I went to already had laser projection a year ago. So
crazy.
Sometimes they're not, so they're not behind. People think they're, and they are playing first run movies, but they also blend in the retro stuff too. So the picture looks good, put it that way.
Chris says that we have the Dixie Twin Drive-In in Dayton, Ohio, but it's not super active. So
not super active. Yeah. Now talk about marquees. The marquee at the Dixie Twin Drive-In is so huge and so impressive. It's really cool. Yeah, that's a nice drive-in.
Well, here's an example of how huge this drive-ins are, guys. Check this out.
Yep.
That is gigantic, and it's 3 screens.
And
how cool is
that's
that?
The Mission Tiki, and there's actually other screens that you can't even see in the shot. But yeah, that's the Mission Tiki Drive-In outside Los Angeles. So that was built as a single screen. Now it has 4.
That's amazing. Nice. But yeah, it's just like people forget.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But this has to be my favorite. I just was looking up random drive-in images, and I found this, guys. And sometimes I was just like, man, so look, the drive-ins have a little fun gimmick nights as well. This is amazing. So they were showing Jaws at this drive-in, and check this out, guys.
Oh, I've seen this picture. Yeah. I don't know where this is at, but I've seen a couple places do this where they do a blow up screen and they have Jaws in the water. Yeah. I don't know if I would want to see Jaws that way. Oh my gosh.
But that's like one of the greatest things ever. I'm like, just
right?
idea wise. I was like, that is amazing. See, guys, it's an experience. It's an experience.
I've seen a few different places doing that actually. Yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah, it blew my mind. I was busting up laughing. I was like, hell yeah, why not? Oh my goodness. Just phenomenal watch. Highly recommend you guys check it out. Was there anything else you'd like to discuss about the documentary? having a problem saying that word today for some reason.
Yeah. No, just thanks for having this conversation and giving the drive-ins a little bit of love. I think that's part of what the movie shows is that, during the pandemic, part of why I called it Back to the Drive-In is because a lot of people went back to the drive-in during the pandemic. Like,
Yeah.
everybody was talking about drive-ins. And for me as a filmmaker, since my first documentary was about drive-ins, I went back to the drive-in to make another film on the topic. But the message is in the title. Get your butt back to the drive-in. We all need to go back to the drive-in this summer. When other things are opened up, we still need to remember them. We still need to support them so that they can, be there for the future generations. So it's just a reminder. And I wanted to show behind the scenes because these families work hard. Their hearts are in it, and they're providing a place for families to gather in their communities. And they get there early in the afternoon. They do a lot of preparation. They do all this stuff to get ready. They're there until 2 or 3 in the morning. Putting in all those hours, and it's just a lot of stuff we don't think about. So I just wanted to pull back the curtain a little bit, give these drive-ins a little bit of appreciation for what these owners are doing, because they're family businesses. So
yeah,
we always talk about the big corporations versus supporting the little guy. Well, these are some of the little guys that you need to support for sure.
That's right. Very well said. And you succeeded, April. You succeeded because this film brought back a lot of memories from Samurai Guy, and I will be supporting my local drive-in as well as you guys. Support it. That's right. This summer, I'm going. You're making me. As soon as I was done watching the film, I'm like, I need to go. Let's go.
That's what everybody keeps telling me too. They're like, I want a dude cookie, and I need to go to my drive-in.
White Russian. Get that white Russian. That's right.
Yep.
But yeah, me and Lady Fatblood, we got to go. We got to go this year for sure. Well, this was an honor again, always having you here, April. You are awesome. That's right. Always great. And I can't wait to talk about your future projects, because I know you got ideas, and I know you got things planned. Come on back. This is your second home. You already know that. And we're going to discuss some future projects for sure. But before that, you got to get you back on here to talk some more horror movies, man. More horror genres. Yeah, we got to do some stuff, man, and bring.
I'll debate your other friends again that you usually have on there.
Yeah, well, Versus is coming back, and most likely, Versus around October. I'm probably going to do nothing but horror movies every week, just like we did last year.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It really is. It's a lot of fun to see. Hear different people's opinions.
Yeah. Everybody, we all crack up and we're all shocked and stunned, but it's always fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a good time, especially when somebody disses a movie you love. You're like, what? What are you talking about? How can you feel that way? So, yeah, it is. It's a good time.
Yes, which is the purpose of the channel here. That's right. We represent horror, action, martial arts. And it's all about fun. That's right. Even if we agree to disagree, it's always about having a good time.
And horror movies are great at the drive-in.
That's right. That's right. So go to the goddamn drive-in. That's right. And the drive-in, around October, they're going to be playing them horror movies. So it's going to be a blast. It's going to be fun. So, all right, guys. Thanks again for watching. Be alert. That's right. Keep your eye out there for when this wonderful film comes to streaming. That's right. If you can't catch it at your local theater, then make sure you guys show support. Watch it on streaming. Keep watching movies, even at the drive-in. All right, guys. Take care. April, don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, guys.